In this video, we're going to be talking about how we can pull in all the exported decimated FBX files that we just pushed from ZBrush and pull that into Maya kind of quickly and easily, and how we can see the vertex color that we put on the model for our material ID baking and other programs. So you can see I'm here inside of Maya, and I open up a brand new scene file. So if I went File, New Scene, and open that up, what I was able to do is just go to the folder that I output my files to. If I go in through Maya and I import and say File, Import, and I do the option box for this and choose this as an FBX, I can locate the FBXs that I exported from ZBrush and pull those into Maya. But the problem is I have to do that one at a time. So the trick is if you go to the folder and you just select one of your meshes that you got here and then hold down Shift and select down to the meshes that you want to import, and you click and you drag those out into the viewport of Maya. It might take a little bit of time depending on the size of the model, but it's going to import those all in. Now, where Maya would have a problem is if you have any FBX files that are the same name, and they have the same name inside of ZBrush, so you got two parts, and maybe you even exported them out and gave them different export names. If the names match each other inside of ZBrush, they'll try to overwrite them whenever you import them into Maya. So that's something to kind of look out for. And when you import them in, everything's going to have a this kind of Lambert material for all the different parts. So I went to, if we go under modeling, let's just make sure we're in the modeling set, which that doesn't matter for this particular part, but I like to just make sure we have the modeling menu up. We can go to Windows, and we can go to Rendering Editors, and then let's go to Hypershade. And this is where you would see maybe a bunch of different materials. So I just drug a marquee around the materials that I just wanted to get rid of, and I just hit delete or backspace and got rid of them all. And then I went to Maya, and then I went and just created a new blend material. Then at that point, I was able to select all the pieces inside of Maya, like this, and then just right click on here and say assign existing material, and you should be able to find that blend material. So I just assign a blend material to everything. And what you will see, let's do this. I'm going to go to Display, Polygons, Custom Polygon Display, and you'll see that this is a nice way of showing all kinds of different information for the model. Instead of being selected, I'll put this on all. And if I want to see the vertex color, I need to turn on this color and shaded. Let me go ahead and hit apply like this, and I'll show you what this would look like normally. Okay, when you first do your display, it's probably going to look like this. I did turn on screen space, ambient occlusion, and that gives a nice kind of grounding kind of look for things. And I also turned on anti-aliasing, and that just makes your wireframes and the jaggies kind of go away on that. So I like to have those two options on for that. And so to turn on the color, we want to make sure we're color and shaded, and then put it on, make sure it's not this color material channel. Take it from none, and you can put it on diffuse like this, and go ahead and hit apply. And at that point, you should be able to see the color information with your model inside of the viewport inside of Maya. Now, I did run into an issue where there was some black, kind of dirty, nasty shading on things, and it just had this really kind of weird look to it. So I just selected the models, and I'll select this here, and you go to Mesh Display, and you can say Unlock Normals. And I had to do that for this piece here. I had to do it for the wheels and these bolts here. Some of the parts were just fine, and some of the parts had some issues. So if you run into that, you might be experiencing some similar issues. The other thing is we can turn on and off the grid if we want to do that. And if you hit Alt-B, you can cycle between these different backgrounds that you've got within here, like this. So I think I like the little bit darker kind of gray that they have within here. I'll turn off this. You could also just say create polygon primitives, and you could do a plane, and you could scale that up pretty large. Let's just do something like 2000 just to push it out pretty far within there. So then that could give you something that's going to give you like just these little tiny kind of contact shadows that would be on there. And if you want, you could do this too. If I selected maybe the outer part, let's see, the divisions on this is set to 3 and 3. I could put this maybe at 4 and 4 like this, and I'll just hit F10 and select edges on here, or I can right click and say edge. And I'll double click this outer part like this, and then tap W for the move tool, and then move this up. If I tap 3, I can do a smooth mesh preview of this, and then maybe I just kind of scale this in a little bit like this. And yeah, it's not allowing me to scale right there with the pen that I got. I probably need to reset my Wacom tablet, but that's okay. That should work for this. And then what I can do with this model is do this. I'll hit F8, and I'll do this. I'll go to Modify, Convert Smooth Mesh Preview to Polygons, and I'll delete the history on it. And I'll do just Alt-Shift-D, and then now I'll tap 3 for that and get an even smoother display of things. And then I can also turn on backface culling on this. So let me show you what that looks like when we do that. We'll do shading, and we'll just do backface culling and turn that on, and that means you can kind of just see through the model at that point like that. And then that way we can kind of get inside of here, and we can see around, and we'll never see the back side of that thing, kind of like that. Now this should have a Lambert material in there. I'll select it, hit Control A, and that'll bring up the Lambert material. This is the default material for things. You might want to assign a different material to it, so we'll just right click on there and say assign new material, and I can click and make a new Lambert material. And now I can kind of just change this and make it a bit darker if I wanted to make it a bit darker. If I don't want to see the color information on there, I can go and do this display polygons, custom polygon display, and we can turn that off, hit apply like that within there. And then if we want to check the polygon count that we got going on for this thing, we can go to display, heads up display, and then make sure we got polygon count on. So you can see that I've got, for the amount of triangles that I have, almost have, it's like 6.6 million polygons for this model. So it's a pretty decent sized model, but this is after we've decimated it, and it's not too heavy. You can still spin this thing around and do a lot of the operations that we normally do inside of Maya. And so this is a way that you could just verify and do a check and make sure everything's good to go inside of Maya before you start pushing these models to other programs.